and I will present you our experiences from the EPARC project. I'm from the Cyprus University of Technology that is located in Limassol, Cyprus. The key persons of the EPARC project is Mr. Lambrinos, an assistant professor, Mr. Dosis and Mr. Drouba, senior researchers, and me. The collaborating organizations is the European Union, the Republic of Cyprus, and the Hellenic Republic. Why we needed the EPARC project? Because the rapid population growth that led in an increase in vehicle traffic. So we had a negative impact on the environment, an increase in city traffic, and an increasing demand on parking infrastructures. So while drivers are circling to find a vacant parking space, they are wasting time and fuel, and further traffic and delays and aggravation. So we need major changes in the traditional parking model, and they are on their way. The aim of the EPARC project is to design and implement a system that will integrate innovative solutions in simplifying the parking experience. What we examined at the university is the methodologies for parking monitoring, dynamic pricing, and advanced reservations in order to benefit both the drivers and parking operators alike. There are two methods in monitoring the parking availability. We have one simpler, just to count the number of vehicles entering and leaving the parking lot, and one that we get more details, and we have information on the status of each individual parking spot. So we have the number and the exact position of the vacant parking. The sensor types that we use for monitoring depends on the parking type, the installation location, the cost, the connection type, and the sensitivity to external factors. When we place a sensor at each spot, we can have it installed on the ceiling or on the ground, and we usually use ultrasonic, magnetic, infrared, luminosity, weight, and acoustic sensors, or we can even use a combination of two to increase the accuracy and the reliability. Instead of sensors, we can also use CCTV cameras and image processing techniques, and nowadays we also use robotic overhead systems. By monitoring the availability of parking, the purpose is to disseminate the information to users, and this is achieved with the parking guidance and information systems. To achieve this, we use variable message signs, where we display the number of parking spaces available at nearby or city centers, web and mobile applications in order to have remote access to real-time availability data, in multiple parking locations for navigation instructions and individual parking spot status. We disseminate information inside a parking lot with electronic maps, signs, and overhead lights for guidance, at multi-story entrances for having information on the availability of each floor, and on on-street parking spots with mobile applications. The problem with PNGI systems is that multiple cars may chase the same spaces that we have information. So we usually use buffered PGI systems. This means that we announce less available spaces than the one we have. Another smart parking system is the transit-based information systems, where we combine with public transportation schedules, traffic conditions, and other relevant data. The aim is to encourage the drivers to use the park and ride facilities, to increase the public transportation use, and to reduce the traffic and parking demand in city centers. We usually use VMS signs in roads near transit stations, mobile phones, in-car system, internet, and radio broadcasts in the past. Nowadays, we have a lot of countries that use the transit-based information systems. One of the latest trends in smart parkings is parking reservation. With parking reservation, we ensure that drivers will find an empty parking spot upon arrival to their destination. With this, we eliminate the negative impacts of searching, and it's highly valuable for the users and the environment. The process for reservation is really simple. The user just have to send a request. He will receive back a confirmation for his reservation, and upon arrival, the driver or the vehicle must be identified to ensure that the parking spot won't be taken by someone else. There are still some open issues with the reservation. We need to know if it's a generic reservation request or subject to criteria. It's important to have accurate availability information, to know the duration of reservation validity once accepted, if we're going to use a small fee or a payment in advance to reduce cancellations and no-shows, to make a stay duration estimation in order to reduce time gaps between each reservation, to have specific policies to maximize utilization. If we're going to use prioritization criteria or just take the first that will make a demand, how we are going to verify and enforce the driver, if it's going to be with automatic vehicle identification or with codes, if we're going to install small barriers or just lights, and how to avoid overstays, and this can be done by leaving some empty spots. The second trend is dynamic pricing. The demand varies depending on time, days, and location. So we use current historical data collected by the availability monitoring systems to estimate the future demand. And we have different parking tariffs for different time periods of the day, different locations, and different customers. Okay, I think I'll go into Okay, we already have two implementations of dynamic parking pricing, one in San Francisco and one in Los Angeles. You have to announce the price in advance so people know what they are going to pay. And they will be informed via websites, applications, etc. As part of the ePark project, we prepared the driver survey to assess the need for smarter parking systems. The survey was located in Nicosia in Chania, Greece, and we had 1,400 participants. The most important results are presented here. We have 37% of the people that answered that say that they spend more than 10 minutes searching for a vacant spot. This shows the problem that exists. People say that when they don't find the vacant parking spot in their preferred lot, they park illegally somewhere else or they just leave. By leaving, this means that we have a lost revenue for parking operators and local businesses. We have most drivers that are interested in using smartphone applications to guide them to available spaces. 43% of the participants are potential users of a fee-based reservation feature. 64% of drivers would have used the dynamic pricing. And to conclude, we see that drivers face some problems regards to the availability of parking spaces, so they are willing to exploit new technologies to reduce their impact. At present, it's important to say that neither in Cyprus, neither in Chania, we have smart parking facilities except from payment through text messaging. The second part is an Android application we developed to examine the impact of non-payments. I'm finishing. To report when a car enters, leaves, and the fees they paid. This is some snapshots of the application for the entrance, exit, and the payment. And to conclude, the last slide. Today's modern society demands more intelligent services. It's inevitably becoming an inherent service in urban areas. And even if there are still some issues that need to be resolved, the point is to simplify the lives of today's citizens. That's it.